LiberalViewer presents.
So when the Bureau of Labor Statistics released its monthly jobs and unemployment numbers for July on the first Friday in August, as Michael Shear pointed out in his New York Times blog The Caucus, there were economic indicators for both Republicans and Democrats to play up because there were more jobs created than expected, but the unemployment rate also went up, which made this news a perfect Rorschach test of bias to compare Fox News and MSNBC, especially because both networks reported the breaking news during their early morning shows and both used reporters from their associated business channels to analyze, starting with Fox News' Fox and Friends, which switched over to Stuart Varney and Rich Edson of the Fox Business Channel to make this report.
163,000 jobs added and the unemployment rate increases to 8.3%, Stuart. A strange phenomenon here to be explained by simply two different surveys, two different groups of people. So job increases of 163,000 and the unemployment rate increases to 8.3%, Stuart.
You're right, Rich. That is extraordinary news in itself. We were not I don't think any analyst was looking for 163,000 jobs. That is still a relatively weak jobs report. With 3 years after the end of the recession, we should be creating 200,000 or 300,000 a month, but 163,000 is better than expected. But a rise in the unemployment rate, that's a very important headline, which will be picked up widely.
So there was definitely spin in that report, emphasizing the rise in the unemployment rate and finding weakness in better than expected job numbers. And as you might expect, the spin went in the other direction over on MSNBC's Morning Joe show, where Brian Sullivan from NBC's business channel CNBC was there to report on the same breaking news in this clip.
Breaking news, the July jobs report released just moments ago. I'm putting on the CNBC face here. Pretty good number, 163,000. The expectation was for 100,000. The highest estimate on Wall Street, 165,000. 163, very strong. And here's, guys, perhaps the best news. Manufacturing jumped 25,000. Utilities, the only group that declined. That was down by 8K. Still got to break down public-private, Governor. I know we're looking. I don't have all my CNBC stuff. I've got an iPad and an iPhone and Barnacle's sarcastic comments company. You know, 163,000, guys. The unemployment rate 8.3%. But remember, you want the unemployment rate to go up a little bit before it goes down because it means people are re-entering the workforce looking for a job. This is not a great number. You need more to create long-term jobs, but a good number, better than expected. I'm sure the White House is breathing a sigh of relief this morning.
So MSNBC definitely took the opposite spin on the same numbers Fox News reported on, but in this case, the spin from CNBC anchor Brian Sullivan was actually more biased because of the point he made about the rising unemployment rate, which he made worse by expanding on that point in this clip.
You can't focus just on the unemployment rate because it only measures people looking for a job. So if you completely give up, I'm out. It's been 3 years. I can't find a job. I'm done. I'm moving back in with mom or whatever it is. You're not counted. And so unemployment rates can drop as people drop out. They call it the labor force participation rate, but I don't want to bore the heck out of the viewers any more than I have. So you want the unemployment rate to go up a little bit, actually, before it can then come down meaningfully, because it means people are thinking, things are getting better, I'm going to go back out and look for a job.
Now, what Brian Sullivan is saying there about the unemployment rate going up when the economy improves is true, but completely misleading when it comes to the July jobs report, because the labor participation rate in July actually went down, so people who previously quit looking for work now re-entering the job market can't explain the rise in the unemployment rate, and the drop in the labor participation rate was actually reported back on Fox News in this clip.
Do we know if anyone or what number of people came into the labor force or dropped out of it? I think that's the labor participation rate.
Right, and then, Stuart, is another strange number here. When you put them all together, the labor force decreases by 155,000. That's not a good number.
155,000 fewer people in the labor force, and the unemployment rate goes up to 8.3%. That's an extraordinary contradiction.
Of course, the numbers aren't quite so contradictory when you look at them more closely, with the most important fact that both Fox News and MSNBC failed to report being that the unemployment rate actually only went up from 8.217% to 8.254%, so most of the increase to 8.3% was actually due to rounding, but despite the bad economy spin on Fox News and the good economy spin on MSNBC, it was Brian Sullivan's misleading argument about the labor participation rate that made Fox News less biased than MSNBC in this case, I think, but I want to know what you think. Was the breaking news report on the July jobs numbers from Fox News less biased than the one from MSNBC? And regarding the line between spinning and misleading, isn't crossing the line from spinning to misleading what generally makes Fox News more biased than MSNBC despite the spin from both.
I YouTube, you decide.